Hi, good morning everyone. Welcome to Science with Jane. Today our topic is signs of spring. And I was hoping to be able to do this episode from outside the treehouse on the balcony, which is where I am now. Hello. However, they're doing some tree trimming in my neighborhood and it's kind of noisy. So I'm gonna actually go back inside the treehouse and close the door so there's not like chainsaw noises and stuff in the background quite as much. But if you hear any noises in the background, that's what it is. So here's what my beautiful spring day looks like. It's a little windy, it's a little chilly, but you can see it's getting to look spring-like. Okay, now we're going inside. Here we go. Closing the door. Excellent. Okay, so it is Tuesday, March 24th. And we are going to talk about signs of spring, even though the spring equinox was last week on Wednesday. And there's an episode about that. So the equinox is a point where the Earth is in a particular position in its trip around the sun. And that's the actual day of the equinox. But spring as a season doesn't just happen on one day. And it happens in very different ways in different places throughout the world and certainly throughout our country, because our country, the United States, is kind of big. Okay, so your signs of spring today may be very different from my signs of spring. And that's what this episode is all about. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do actually is to read you a book. It is one of my favorite books. It is called And Then It's Spring. And even if you are an older kid and you think you're too old for picture books, it's actually a really good one because I think there's a lot of science in the illustrations. And it's very beautifully written and illustrated. So it is called And Then It's Spring. It is written by Julie Fogliano and illustrated by Aaron E. Steed. And this is the book. Okay, so, and you can think when you read this book or listen to this book, how do the signs of spring in this book compare to your signs of spring? And how does where this book is in the springtime journey compared to how spring is working where you live? Okay, because maybe it's already super green and springy where you are, or maybe there's still snow on the ground where you are, or maybe it's kind of in between. All right, and then it's spring. First, you have brown. All around, you have brown. And then there are seeds. So the boy is planting some seeds. And a wish for rain. And then it rains. Now, yesterday here where I live, there was first snow in the morning and then a lot of rain, right? Maybe you had all rain, maybe you had all snow. And it is still brown, but a hopeful, very possible sort of brown. And is that a little green? No, it's just brown, sort of brown. Look how disappointed he looks. And then it is a week. For a whole week, he's been waiting. And you worry about those little seeds. And if maybe it was the birds. I think he's thinking maybe the birds went and ate all his seeds. Or maybe it was the bears and all that stomping, because bears can't read signs that say things like, please do not stomp here. There are seeds and they are trying. Now, do you have bears where you live? Some of us might. I don't think I have bears right in this immediate neighborhood a lot, but there are definitely bears in the state where I live. Do you think bears could stomp out the seeds? And then it is one more week. And the brown, still brown, has a greenish hum that you can only hear if you put your ear to the ground and close your eyes. So the illustrator here has depicted all the things that might be going on underground when above the ground it still all just looks brown. And then it is one more week. This is a very patient boy. And a sunny day, that sunny day that happens right after that rainy day, maybe for some of you that's today. And you walk outside to check on all that brown. But the brown isn't around, and now you have green. All around, you have green. The end. So I think where I live, I'm already at the having green stage, but I'm not at the having green on trees yet stage. And that's like a whole different stage of spring. So thank you for listening to the book. You can kind of think about how does this book connect to where you are in your springtime season, okay? I now have a very special Sign of Spring video clip that my sister recorded. So I'm gonna go to that clip now and then we'll be right back.
Okay, there's the baby turkey moving in the egg.
Yeah.
There it is, that dark spot right there that keeps getting bigger is our baby turkey.
Yeah.
Moving all around.
Yeah, I love when baby turkeys are hatching.
Okay, so baby animals like birds, like turkeys, for example, growing inside eggs, that is a sign of spring in many cases. So you have like greenness with plants and little seeds and grass and leaves on trees. All of those things are signs of spring. Some early flowers come up in the spring. Those are also signs of spring. So we're going to talk a little bit about signs of spring. So on the document that's linked below, there are some suggestions for things you can do. First of all, there's a BrainPop Junior on spring. You do need a login to watch BrainPop, but families can request a free BrainPop login at this time, and the access code is right here. And also, you could check out this website called Journey North. So I've listed two websites here. One is Journey North, and this website helps scientists, students, and teachers document the science of seasonal change and migration. So right now, that would be documenting spring. And they list all different kinds of things, like when the first leaves are coming out, when robins are coming, when first leaves are coming on trees, when tulips are blooming. So all these different sorts of things, and they have maps for lots of different things on that website. In a similar vein, and this is kind of more for like scientists and older students, the National Phenology Network does the same thing. So this is for the United States. And phenology is the study of seasonal change. And not the seasonal change with like the planets moving around, but like what changes do we document here on Earth with plants and animals and fungus that show us that seasons are changing, and also tracking those changes over time. Okay, so those are those resources, and our activities are going to sort of make you a phenologist, make you a documenter of seasonal change. So for younger kids, let me get my correct paper, it's pretty simple. You go outside if you can, or if you can't go outside, you can look out your window and document signs of spring. So one fun way to do this, which one of my friends taught me, is when you see a sign of spring, you want to get super excited, and you can even yell, "Sign of spring!" and make it a big deal. Unless the grown-up you're with gets annoyed, and then you should tone it down a little. So you want to count the signs of spring you see, or that you can think of if you can't go outside. You can make tally marks here if there are a lot. So I saw this many signs of spring, so you can put that there. Draw a picture of your favorite sign of spring. So again, if you can't go outside today, you could just draw that picture. And down below, how do you think this sign of spring, the one you drew, will change over the next several weeks? Draw your prediction here. Now, I put a spot at the top of this for you to put the date, because maybe you would want to do this week and then do it again next week and see what changes. because that's part of documenting spring. Okay, if you are an older kid, I'm going to turn the page now. So younger kids, you can listen if you want to. Or if you're going, have an awesome day. For if you are an older kid, basically we're doing the same thing, documenting spring, but making it a little more high tech. So you can go outside and pick a spot that you can visit regularly. So something in your yard, or if you can take walks around the block, something on your block. If you can't go outside, you can pick something you can see from your window. A plant or an area of ground will work well. If you want to document animals, I recommend you count the number of that type of animal you see in a given time. So you go to whatever spot you pick, set a timer for like 2 minutes or whatever you want, and tally mark how many, for example, if you're interested in birds, how many birds do you see? How many insects do you see? Like you might see 0 at first, but I bet that will change. Or maybe chipmunks. We got chipmunks in our yard. So you can pick something to focus on and describe or draw it here. Then you want to document. And again, part of this is looking at how signs of spring change over time. So here's a spot for you to do the date, your observations, and then the data that you're measuring or recording. So you could draw things that you probably need another piece of paper. You could also do this with photos and date the photos and look at change over time with photos, which is really cool, especially to document color change or changes in leaf growth. You could measure the height of a newly growing plant. If you see like a sprout coming up, you could do the height once a week. Count the number of leaves or flowers on a certain plant, or count the animals you see. So this is your choice of what you're going to document. You can do this over time, like maybe once a week. You could do it once a day. Depending, you may or may not see changes that way. All right, I hope you have fun documenting spring, even if it's just going for a walk and shouting signs of spring very loudly to the joy of the people you're walking with. Okay, I hope everyone stays safe. Stay at home as much as you can. Walks around the block in most places are still good. Just keep your distance from other people. All right, take care. Have an awesome day. Bye.